We'll call our February 6th meeting of the Cookeville City Council to order. We have a roll call, please.
Councilman Womack.
Here.
Councilman Miller.
Here.
Mayor Shelton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Wheaton. Councilman Walker.
Present.
4 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. This time, I'd like to invite those that wish to do so stand for the invocation, follow the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day and for all your blessings. Thank you for our service, Lord. Just pray that you would bless us and guide us as we guide the city. In your name we pray and ask it. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3, consider approval of agenda as presented. Are there any changes?
No changes.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Under old business, 5A, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on January 16th, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Under 5B, consider on second and final reading ordinance O-191217 to close, abandon, and declare surplus property a portion of West 14th Street located west of Autumn Avenue. John Ward.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. There have been no changes to the ordinance since first reading. We've had no inquiries about the request, and I recommend approval on second and final reading.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 5C, consider on second and final reading ordinance O-200101, amending Title 19, Chapter 2 of the Cookeville Municipal Code Gas Service. Jeff Mills.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. This is the second reading of an ordinance to increase the monthly gas customer charge and lower the base rates to offset those changes. We have not received any comments or questions concerning that, and also there have been no changes since the first reading, and I would request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Under new business, 7A, consider resolution R-200202, authorizing the participation in the Public Entity Partners Property Conservation Matching Safety Grant Program. Gail Fowler.
Mayor and council, I'm pleased to present for your consideration this evening. It's a resolution that would authorize us to apply for one of the grants that Public Entity Partners makes available to municipalities. It will provide matching funds for items that assist in property loss prevention. If approved, the city intends to purchase a thermal imaging camera to assist in finding hidden hotspots, energy waste, structural defects, plumbing clogs, and HVAC issues. I think that would be great for maintenance to have access to. Also, surveillance cameras will be purchased for installation at Parkview Skate Park, as well as the impound lot at Police Department's traffic substation. The city's portion of the cost would be no more than $2,850, and I would respectfully request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion's got any questions? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7B, consider resolution R-200203 to acquire by donation, negotiation, or eminent domain, if necessary, certain land rights relating to the North Cedar Avenue Cityscape Project. Greg Brown.
Mayor and council, we're at the point with the Cityscape project on North Cedar Avenue to begin acquiring property rights. If you remember, the project is improving the existing street, adding a 4-foot bike lane on each side, new curb and gutter, 2-foot grass strip, 5-foot sidewalks on each side, as well as putting the utilities underground and the decorative light post. This resolution will permit us to begin purchasing property rights, and I would request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? I do have one. If any of this, if there were to be a parking space that had to be gone from that property, they would be grandfathered, that it wouldn't be in violation of any kind of zoning, right?
Yes, the setbacks and anything concerning that would be grandfathered into the existing conditions as they are, but we're trying to avoid taking any parking spots. Sometimes we're not having the 2-foot grass strip to save some parking spots. So,
Okay.
So far we haven't lost any spots, and that's what our goal will be.
Very good. Any other questions? I'll vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7C, consider a rescinding motion on 8/15/19 for Grade E asphalt bid and award. Correct bid received on 8/5/19 for Grade E asphalt public works. Greg Brown, that's really clear.
Mayor and council, we asked for the approval of bids in August of 2019. There was a mistake on the price for the Grady asphalt. You approved a price of $92.90. The price should have been $93.90. So I would request you rescind that approval and approve the correct price.
Okay, can we do that in one motion?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7D, consider approval to purchase vehicle servicing through the statewide bid contract for all city departments. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, this past August, the council approved awarding a one-year vehicle servicing bid to the low evaluated bidder meeting specifications, which was Class A Oil and Lube. Class A was recently purchased and is no longer in business in Cookeville. The company that purchased them, Valvoline, has the statewide contract, which was previously not available in the city of Cookeville. The contract runs through November 21st, 2021, and the statewide contract turns out to be significantly less than what we were previously paying. And I would request that the council approve to purchase vehicle servicing for all city departments through state contract bid with Valvoline, Inc.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7E, consider approval to reject all bids received on 7/19/19 for fleet body-worn camera system and award bid received on 1/27/20 for in-car and body camera system storage. Chief Evans.
Mayor and council, we initially bid our body camera and fleet camera system back in July, anticipating replacing the current system, which has reached its end of life cycle. As we pursued a grant that you approved a couple of months ago, we were instructed that we had to follow their procurement procedures. So they asked us to reject those bids and then rebid this project. So that's what we did. So essentially, we're asking you to, as it states there, is to reject those original bids from July and then award the bid to Axon, which is the lowest bidder meeting specifications. The total cost of the project is $825,780, and that'll be paid, and I'll show you the breakdown here in a moment. That'll be paid over a period of 5 years. If you'll notice, there's a note there from our finance director about payment and the appropriations of the money. There is a clause within the agreement that says that if for some reason the money's not appropriated in those out years, years 2 through 5, or we're unable to pay, legally unable to pay, then we can terminate that agreement with proper notice. So we're not obligated to those funds if the money's not appropriated. So we'll be buying 60 systems over that 3-year period. There's $13,763 a piece, as I stated earlier. See the total cost there. We will receive with this system 2 body cameras per officer of the fleet, the in-car system, and unlimited cloud storage. We get state-of-the-art redaction, wireless downloads, everything syncs. Year 2.5, and at year 5, we get new hardware as part of this agreement. So that's always been a problem with us. It's keeping the hardware current. So even if they upgrade their systems, we get those newest systems. Which is, and there's kind of the breakdown. We will pay $270,000. $120,000 of that is the grant from the Department of Justice, and then $138,900 years 2 through 5. And recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I'm just excited that we have the opportunity to buy the best body cameras for our officers. Whatever we can do to protect them in the eyes of the public is what we need to do. So, thank you.
So we're actually buying the cloud storage, right? And they're giving us the cameras in exchange for us buying cloud storage, right? I mean, in theory.
In theory.
Because they're going to replace the cameras. So if we weren't buying cloud storage at year 5, when they're replacing the cameras, we'd have brand new cameras. There'd be no reason to continue paying them.
Right.
But we're paying them for the
Correct.
cloud.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And so in year 5, we'll buy this again. If we're happy or whatever, we'll have the latest technology and we'll continue the cloud.
Correct.
Okay, if something happened we wanted to change, would we have access to that cloud storage? Does that become our proprietary property or not?
Yes, it will be our property. I'm not sure year 5, we would probably have to move that to some local storage at that time. I'm sure they wouldn't store that for us.
If we're not with them.
If we're not with them.
But if we are, they probably would stay there.
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. Any other questions? I'll vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7F, consider authorizing AT&T FirstNet Solution as the data service plan provider for the police department's mobile communication terminals. Chief Evans.
Mayor and Council, what we're basically talking about here is our data for our mobile data terminals. So we're not moving any phones, but we do want to move the data because we've determined that the speeds and the download speeds are higher with FirstNet. As we talked about in work session, FirstNet is a network or a bandwidth that's exclusively for first responders. So it's not on the commercial band. It is under a statewide contract, as you can see there. Tests that we ran, we're showing the download speeds are 5 times faster than our current provider because it is on the commercial band. And if we compare that to Verizon's public safety plan, it's actually cheaper. The price we're paying now for Verizon is actually cheaper than this, but it is the commercial band rather than the public safety band. And the good news is we're not contractually bound, so if a better product comes along, or Verizon speeds increase, or 5G, or anything like that was to happen, then we could make that move. We'll be migrating 27 data lines that we're currently purchasing under Verizon to FirstNet. We'll be adding 33 lines, and then the cost is $37.28 per month, a total of approximately $27,000 per year, and it is a budgeted item. I'd recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? I'll vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7G, receive city's financial report for 7/1/19 through 12/31/19. Ms. Emmel.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have for you this evening a financial update covering the period July 1st, 2019 through December 30th, 2019. For the general fund, we budgeted $28.4 million in revenue. The actual revenues for this 6-month period is 48.2% of that. The largest revenue source we have in the general fund is local option sales tax, and as you know, we budgeted over $14 million for the first time. We are currently at 49.38% of that, at just over $7 million for the 6 months. The second largest revenue source is property taxes. Collections of the 2019 tax aggregate through December 31st is at 41%, which is consistent with prior years. Typically 40 to 50% of that tax aggregate is collected in the month of February. The actual 2019 tax aggregate also came in slightly higher than the estimate we used for our budget purposes, so we anticipate exceeding budgeted revenue for property taxes. The hotel motel tax, you can see a line on there for that, started being assessed in September and has resulted in $228,000 in new revenue for this period, which is restricted for economic development and/or tourism. On the expenditure side in the general fund, we budgeted $27.7 million in operating expenditures, of which 79% of it is personnel cost. And for the first 6 months of the fiscal year, operating expenditures are at 46% of budget, or $12.8 million. We also originally budgeted $1.8 million in non-recurring capital expenditures, and a budget amendment we did back in the fall increased that to about $2.1 million. Some of the larger items that this included were improvements to City Hall. You've probably seen that they've started replacing the windows. And also the body cameras for the police department, which you just addressed. And we've also purchased a brush truck for Public Works. And the capital budget was amended back in the fall to cover the property that we purchased to expand or develop into a parking lot. Jumping on into State Street A, we budgeted $2.7 million in revenues in this fund, and it's primarily intergovernmental revenues. The state shared revenue gas tax is at 49% of the budget. MTAS has slightly decreased their projected estimate per capita, so we don't expect to hit budget on that revenue line, but it'd just be a little bit short. We have 3 sidewalk grant projects ongoing in this fund that impact both revenues and expenditures. The Spring Street Sidewalk project is expected to proceed to the construction phase pretty soon. The Interstate Drive Sidewalk project is in right-of-way phase, and the 12th Street Sidewalk project is in the early design phase. All 3 of these will be ongoing into the next fiscal year. We also budgeted $825,000 there in paving streets, and we expect to spend that by fiscal year end. And we budgeted $50,000 for salt. And hopefully, as things are going right now, we may not have to spend that, so. And the Sanitation Solid Waste Fund. Sanitation receives 4 cents of the property tax as well as charges for services. Revenue is ahead of budget at 52.6%. Operating expenditures are at 47.3% of budget. We budgeted $398,000 in capital expenditures, which included 1 garbage truck, which we have purchased. The drug fund, which is a restricted fund, court fines and confiscated property revenue, for the first 6 months is $63,772, and expenditures are $103,021. Expenditures included 3 used vehicles which we purchased that were budgeted for. The Animal Control Fund accounts for the operations of the animal shelter. Revenues at December 31st are $319,000. Our local government partners have submitted supporting funds of $88,000 from Putnam County, $5,000 from Allgood, $3,150 from Baxter, and Monterey sends us $550 on a monthly basis. The city's transfer of $88,000 has also been made. Operating expenditures in this fund are $195,000 or 45% of budget. Economic Development Fund receives 4 cents of the property tax. Revenues are at $182,804 at December 31st, and expenditures and transfers out $133,37. We budgeted the recruitment wage incentive $120,000 in this fund, and it has not yet been requested. Quality of Life Fund receives a penny on the tax rate. Revenues are $51,896 at December 31st. We budgeted some substantial park projects in this fund that we are currently working on, including additional parking at Cane Creek Park, the new dog park at Cane Creek Park, and playground repairs. And expenditures for the first 6 months are just at $33,162 as we make progress on those projects. The General Obligation Debt Service Fund revenues are at 50.5% of budget. We put the state shared sales tax in revenue into this fund, and MTAST has revised their estimate of this per capita upward a little bit, so we should exceed budget on that line item. While we have made interest payments, you can see there on the debt, principal payments are not due till May or June. Our debt outstanding is at $18.9 million, with 2.4 of that at variable rate loans with the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund. The interest rate on those notes are currently just under 2%. We anticipate bringing to you the new debt issue for the police headquarters later this fiscal year. And we also have a bond from 2010, the Build America bond, that will be eligible for refinancing later this spring. So we'll be working with our financial advisor to take advantage of any opportunity there that could save us some funds. This is the new transportation fund. It has property tax revenue of $574,000 as of December 31st, and we have no expenditures as of December 31st. The General Improvement Bond Fund has just a little bit of interest revenue. As of the new bonds have not been issued yet, so there's no bond revenue in there. And expenditures on projects that were previously funded on other bonds at December 31st are $143,891. Jumping into the utilities, the Water Quality Control Department budgeted revenues of $15,081,000, and actual revenues are at 57% or $8.6 million. The first year of a 5-year rate implementation plan to increase rates was implemented on May 1st, so this 6 months includes the higher first-year rate. Operating expenditures are right at 50% of budget, and total expenditures with the capital items are at 39% of budget. That's the expenditures there. The electric department budgeted revenues of $58 million, and actual revenues are at 49.7%, or $28.8 million. Total expenditures for them are at $29.2 million, or 48.6% of budget. The gas department had budgeted revenues of $10.3 million, and actual revenues are at $3.2 million, or 31% of budget. That's pretty typical for that department because revenues for this department are seasonal. So 31% for July through December is consistent with prior years. And expenses for this department are $4.5 million, or 43.5% of budget. All three utilities had positive change in net position on their audited financial statements for the fiscal year end June 30th, 2019. And just to point out, the gas department has no debt. The water and the electric department both have 2 debt issues. The water outstanding debt is just over $2 million, and their note with the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund will pay off this coming May. And the electric department's total debt outstanding is about $4.8 million. And the last fund I have for you this evening is the Employee Insurance Fund. It has revenues of 50% of budget, or $2.5 million for this 6-month period. Expenditures are running ahead of budget for the 6 months at 58%, and that you can see on that line there, it's due to claims. We cover approximately 1,160 lives in this fund. We've had a couple very large claims during this 6-month period, and claims also tend to be higher in that last half of the calendar year because everybody's met their deductibles and co-pays. So that's not unusual. Our plan is actually on a calendar year basis, and so for the plan year 2019 that just ended, we pretty much broke even. I think we had a deficit of just a couple $1,000. But the previous 2 plan years, 2017 and 2018, we had surpluses where the premiums paid into the plan exceeded the claims and expenses that came out. So the plan's reserves currently are strong. They've actually increased from $2.9 million at the beginning of plan year 2017 to $4.3 million to end 2019. So I went through that pretty quick. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer, but that's all I have for you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to receive the financials?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda portion of the meeting. We have time at the end for anyone that'd like to speak on non-agenda items. Do we have anyone in the audience? No? I know Mr. Mills has an announcement he wanted to make.
Well, Mayor, thank you, and council. I'd just like to point out, over the last 24, 48 hours, we've had a pretty significant rain event, and there's had some flooding across the city. And on at least 3 occasions, conversations I've had with people today, were of the opinion they could not buy flood insurance. That is incorrect. The city of Cookeville is a participant in the National Flood Insurance Program. And part of that means that anybody owning property within the city of Cookeville, whether you're in a floodplain or not, is eligible to buy flood insurance. So I don't want people to be misinformed. And you don't have to be in a floodplain to buy flood insurance. You can be on top of a mountain and buy flood insurance. It's through FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. I would encourage anybody that has any questions, if your agent is confused or doesn't understand the process, to call the Cookeville Planning Department, 520-5271. And John Ward or Ken Young there, both are very familiar with the National Flood Insurance Program and can get you in touch with people that can help you locate insurance. But I want people to be aware that you can buy flood insurance. And this, not only in the city of Cookeville, but also Putnam County. Putnam County is also a participant in the National Flood Insurance Program. So please, if you're worried about it, you can buy flood insurance. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Councilman Walker?
With all the rain and the flooding that we've had, I think it's really important just to kind of point out that, our hearts kind of go out to anyone that's dealing with issues, any, small businesses or people's personal homes in the county and in the area. It's hard when you wake up in the morning and you find out that, you've lost a lot or you're having to clean up a lot, and taking steps to manage that and work towards that is important. But our hearts do go out to everybody in the community that is dealing with these problems, and we are thinking about you, and we are aware of issues that do happen in our area and in the greater area as well.
Anyone else? All right, we're adjourned.